Welcome to First and 10 with Keith Harrington, sponsored this week by Kelly Farm and Garden, where customers are treated like part of our family tree.
And welcome once again, everyone, to First and 10. I'm your host, Keith Harrington. First and 10, our weekly review and preview of high school football around our region for Nivant Media Sports. And of course, as we always do, we begin every show with a look back at last week's action. And the big game on the docket last week was in Class B. Glens Falls taking on Ravenna-Queens-Selkirk over at Putnam Field in Glens Falls. And it was Glens Falls dominating that game 41-14. They come away with the win in the rematch of last year's Section 2 Class B championship game. It was 7-0 midway through the first quarter, actually midway through the second quarter, and then all heck broke loose as the Black Bears scored 3 times over the last 4 minutes and 14 seconds, and they go on to defeat Ravenna by a score of 41-14 in that game. And it was Lee Kittle scoring the 2 touchdowns for Ravenna-Queens-Selkirk in the fourth quarter. He scored from 12 yards out and 26 yards out for the Ravens in that contest. But it was the signal caller, Chase Hagg, for Glens Falls leading the way. He finished with 105 yards rushing, 15 carries, completed 14 of 16 passes for 142 yards. And their star running back, Jordan Baker, the Ravens kept him under wraps for the most part, but he finished with 68 yards on 17 carries. Kittle led the Ravens with 132 yards on 12 carries. Glens Falls raised their mark to 6-0. Ravenna-Queens-Selkirk falls to 4-2 in the Class B race. And the game I was at on Friday night, Granville-Whitehall rolled over Mechanicville 52-12. C.J. Monty ran for 4 touchdowns, 176 yards on 18 carries for GW. Finn McLaughlin tossed a TD pass from 25 yards out to tight end Mason Sagana, and Brandon Beaver added a pair of touchdown runs for Granville-Whitehall. Granville-Whitehall improves to 3-2. Mechanicville falls to 0-6. Greenwich rolled over Stillwater Spa Catholic by a score of 41-6 in Class C. Will Weber paced the Witches with a 219-yard night on 21 carries. He scored a pair of touchdowns. Ryan Ingber, the quarterback, ran for 85 yards and 2 scores on 16 rushes. He also completed 9 of 15 passes for 101 yards for the Witches. Ingber hooked up with Keegan Clayton on a 15-yard scoring strike. Clayton also contributed an 8-yard touchdown run for the Witches. Caden Bentley caught 5 passes for 74 yards for Greenwich. Greenwich now 5-0, 6-0 on the season. Over on the Vermont side of the border, it was Fairhaven blanking North Country 35-0. Cody Adams, a pair of touchdown passes, rushed for another for Fairhaven. Sam Cahill and Brady New had touchdown catches for the Slaters. Anthony Zabo had a 19-yard rushing touchdown. Jonathan Hutchins tacked on a 3-yard scoring run for Fairhaven. In the game that we brought you live last Saturday afternoon, it was Poultney falling to Windsor 29-20 on the Vermont side of the border. Jack Burke, who was our Lake Champlain Coal Company player of the game, rushed for 3 touchdowns for the Yellow Jackets. Turtle Petchke, the quarterback, scored on a keeper for the other Windsor touchdown. Eric Kendall tossed 2 touchdown passes to Mikey Seelick for the Blue Devils. Cole Lynch also added a short touchdown run. Windsor is 2-4. Poultney is 0-6. Other scores involving teams from our coverage area last week for Nivant Media Sports. It was Cobleskill-Richmondville over Broad Alban Perth, 49-0. Cambridge-Salem over Rensselaer, 57-0 in that game. It was Johnstown 33, Coxsackie Athens 8. Lost my page. Got to get my page back here. And it was Lansingburg over Ichabod Crane 21-0. Averill Park over Cohoes 57-0. So a lot of shutouts last week and a lot of lopsided games across the area, but that will not be the case this week. A couple of big games in Class C as it's Granville-Whitehall at Hoosick Falls Tamarack. That's going to be a big game. And then the biggest game right here at Cobleskill-Richmondville, Cobleskill-Richmondville against Fonda Fultonville. We'll have that game live right here on Nivet Media Sports. And coming back, we're going to have our guest segment. We're going to talk with Dylan Gallagher and Logan Hulslander, and also Coach Ed Hantho for Cobleskill-Richmondville. And we'll do that next here on First and 10 on Nivet Media Sports. And welcome back to this week's edition of First and 10. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, for Nivet Media Sports. And right now joining me is Logan Hulslander from Cobleskill-Richmondville football. And you told me you're an offensive lineman.
Yep.
And we're very excited to be here today. And we're very excited to be coming Friday night for a very big game. We were here last week, or last year, I should say, when you played Granville-Whitehall in the playoffs. But we're happy to be coming back. And tell me about the big game coming up. Fonda Fultonville 6-0, you guys 6-0, both unbeaten in the division. Tell us about, what do you think it's kind of a game it's going to be?
It's going to be a very tough game. I mean, they have a really good running back, but our defense is really stout and has been. And I think that it will be whoever has the last possession in the game.
Now, you guys are getting at the point right now where you seem to be a regular contender. You got a beautiful weight room here. I'm sure that plays a role. What's the key to you guys with your success the last few years?
It's been really good coaching, and the players buy into the program every single year and just going to practice every day and just grinding.
What do you think is going to be the key to the game on Friday night?
It's going to be us running the ball very effectively and just our passing play, just getting going, not stalling out on drives.
Now, last year, you guys made it to the Class C championship game, took on that very strong Schuylerville team. It's got to be a big goal. Is this something you've been gunning for, really, since last year?
Yes, it has, yeah.
Since the offseason, to get back to that championship game? What would it mean to get back to that championship game?
Everything. Just like being in Lansingburg again, it'd be amazing.
All right, great.
Yeah.
Well, thanks for joining us. This is Logan Hulslander, offensive lineman from Cobleskill-Richmondville football. And we'll be out here watching him play on Friday night. Good luck.
Thank you.
All right, thank you. We're going to have more First and 10 with Keith Harrington coming up. Stay with us. And welcome back to First and 10. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, for Nivet Media Sports, and we are coming to you this week from this beautiful weight room here at Cobleskill-Richmondville High School. We've got the Bulldogs logo behind us back there. I thought that would be a great shot to do our show today. We've got Dylan Gallagher with us right now, and thanks for joining us.
Thank you.
So, big game coming up, obviously, on Friday, as we were just talking about with Logan. Fonda Fultonville coming in unbeaten. You guys are unbeaten. What can you tell me about your preparation and getting ready for that game?
I think our practices are going to be even more brutal than they already were.
So you guys really go at it out there in practice? Do you think that's a big, getting physical with your own team in practice, is that a key that helps you in games?
Definitely.
Having this weight room obviously has to be a big advantage for you too. I mean, you guys spend a lot of time in here, even in the off season, I take it.
In the off season, we actually spend more time in here.
Oh, really? Excellent. So that's a big key to strength training and what you guys do. Obviously, Fonda Fultonville's got a very good running back. You guys are going to have to be keyed in on him. He's got 22 touchdowns this year. Is that something you guys have been thinking about and working on?
We don't want to overlook him, but there's definitely other aspects of their offense.
Right. Just I was talking about with Logan just now, last year made it all the way to the Class C finals, beat our home team, I guess you could call it, from up where we're from, Granville-Whitehall, in the semifinals. Obviously getting back, maybe getting another shot at Schuylerville. Obviously a big goal for you guys this year.
Definitely.
How much would it mean to get another shot at possibly Schuylerville or somebody else in the Class C title game?
It would mean everything. Because then I know a lot of the seniors that graduated last year, they'll definitely go to that game.
Right. And I think it showed with Schuylerville winning the whole thing last year, winning the state championship, that if you come out of Section 2, you can go a long ways. So obviously that would be a big game for you. Well, we're looking forward to being here on Friday night. Good luck. And we'll be out there doing the game live, and we'll be looking for your number out on the field.
Thank you.
All right. That's Dylan Gallagher with us right now here on First and 10 with Keith Harrington on Nivet Media Sports. And we'll be right back with more here from Cobleskill-Richmondville High School. And welcome back to First and 10. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, Cobleskill-Richmondville coach Ed Hantho joining me right now. Coach, busy schedule, practice coming up. Thanks for taking the time.
Well, my pleasure. Appreciate you coming here to cover the game.
Well, I hope it's the first of many trips down here in the future. So big game coming up, obviously, but you guys at this point unbeaten on the season. What has been the key to your success so far this year?
Well, you've mentioned that, we had a team last year that reached the final. That was senior laden. We had 13 seniors. I guess you could even say the season is a pleasant surprise. I don't know that it is a surprise, but we definitely knew that the first 3 weeks we'd have to grow awful quick, being that we had not a lot of experience, only at a few positions. We have 6 seniors, 4 of them that have significant playing time out there. And those 4 had significant playing time last year on the team, but we've got a lot of sophomores and juniors who didn't have time, and they've had to grow up in a quick fashion. I think that was a big part of it. The 3 non-league tests, and then when you get into league play, you got to ramp things up and play well. And we had a great game against Johnstown. I think we're building some confidence. We're figuring out what the strengths are of each player, trying to hone our offense and defense to those. And I would just say, we're not as big as some teams, not quite as fast, but we have a real gritty group that's had a lot of success coming up from the point that they were modified all the way through. And they just took pride in the fact that great things happened last year, and they wanted to follow in step. And they've really done everything they can to do that.
It sounds like you're really building a culture here now, where the kids are starting to realize you can be successful every year.
Yeah, and then some of that has to do with the players you got coming through. We've been in it before. We've been to the final, 3 other times, but it definitely is terrific to see what's going on here, and the fact that it doesn't seem to matter who we meet as an opponent. They're ready to step up to the challenge. They're a quiet bunch, but they just get after it. It's weird, very weird, but we'll take it. And I couldn't be happier. They work hard every day in practice, and they do everything they're asked to do. They are a group, unlike some others, that can really focus on details and replicate what you want done with very few repetitions, which is a great attribute to have. It makes practices go super smooth.
Well, you mentioned you had 13 seniors on your team that went to the C finals last year. Obviously, that's a big hole to fill. I know Schuylerville, one of their strengths this year has been they had 18 returning starters, from a team that went, to the state championship last year. So do you feel like this Fonda game's coming at a good time now because you've had that chance to let this team build a little bit?
Yeah, I think, as anybody would, you want some of those tougher games at the end of the season. Every game is somewhat tough, but we knew if you mark the calendar, Fonda's going to come away with a team that's going to be formidable year in and year out. They've got that culture there. So, yeah, I think it's a good time for it. We know, obviously, they've got a great back there. Hopefully, we can kind of keep him hemmed in and force them to go to some other players. There's a lot of attributes to them that we're going to have to try to take care of, and this week of prep is going to be big. And obviously, Friday night, you see how we pass the test. We get a lot of homework this week, and hopefully it pays off. I anticipate us getting out there with great preparation. It's just a matter of execution on that night.
Well, speaking of which, I know you've got practice to get out to right now, so we're going to let you go. We appreciate your time, and we're glad to be here. We're looking forward to seeing you Friday night.
Really appreciate your time as well.
All right.
Thank you.
Ed Hantho, head coach here for the Bulldogs of Cobleskill-Richmondville High School, ahead of a big game Friday night against the Fonda Fultonville team. I almost said Braves. Couldn't remember what their name was there for a little bit. But we're going to have that game right here at Nivet Media Sports, so we look forward to having you here with us. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you.
And we'll be right back with more here on Nivet Media Sports. Now, welcome back to First and 10. I'm your host, Keith Harrington, and we are in Cobleskill-Richmondville at Cobleskill-Richmondville High School this week, as you can see, and their beautiful weight room, got the Bulldogs logo there behind us, and we're going to be here on Friday night. Big game, Battle of the Unbeaten, 6-0, Cobleskill-Richmondville, 6-0, Fonda Fultonville, and we're going to stream that game live right here on Nivet Media Sports, and we are fired up for that game. It's going to be a great one. Looking ahead at all the games coming up this weekend, of course, we'll be here for Cobleskill-Richmondville. The Bulldogs taking on Fonda Fultonville. Both teams unbeaten, 6-0 on the season, unbeaten in the division. The Bulldogs have been led this year by their signal caller, Caden Cernoskis. Receivers Eli Barr and Isaiah Butcher, his 2 favorite targets. And then a host of running backs have been kind of running back by committee this year for the Bulldogs. That's obviously been very, very successful. Fonda Fultonville, led by running back Colin Pickering. Pickering, one of the best players in Section 2. He has a whopping 22 touchdowns so far this season. The quarterback is Braden Wasink. He has thrown for 5 scores. His favorite target when he goes to the air is Matt Oathout for Fonda Fultonville. And that's going to be a big game here on Friday night. And again, we'll be here for it at 7 o'clock kickoff right here from Cobleskill-Richmondville High School. Other games on the schedule on Friday night, a big game. Granville-Whitehall is at Hoosick Falls Tamarack. And that game essentially is for the number 2 spot in Section 2 Class C East Division. The winner of that will all but wrap up the number 2 seed, and the loser will be fighting for their playoff lives a week from now when they play their final game of the season. So that is a very, very big game. Granville-Whitehall visiting Hoosick Falls Tamarack. Mechanicville will be at the defending Class C champions Schuylerville. The Black Horses already well in control of Class C East in Section 2, just rounding out the season now and getting geared up for playoffs. In Class B, Shelmont is at Ravina Queeman Selkirk. The Ravens looking to bounce back after a loss at Glens Falls last week. Scotia is at Averill Park. Gloversville visits Ichabod Crane. And Hudson is at Coxsackie Athens. All of those are games in Class B. In Class D, Hudson Falls is at Canajoharie Fort Plain, and Rensselaer is at Stillwater Saratoga Catholic. In 8-man football, it is Hoosick Valley at Corinth Hadley Luzerne. And on Saturday, a couple of big Class D games. Warrensburg Lake George is at Cambridge Salem, and that game being played at Cambridge High School. And Greenwich takes on Voorheesville. The Blackbirds coming off their first win of the season, but obviously a very tall order taking on the unbeaten Greenwich Witches. That game on Saturday afternoon in Voorheesville. That's going to wrap it up for this week's edition of First and 10 with Keith Harrington. Thanks to everybody here at Cobleskill-Richmondville High School for letting us invade their space here and for sitting down and talking with us. We've had a great time here. We look forward to coming back at another time, and we'll be here Friday night for the big game, Cobleskill-Richmondville versus Fonda Fultonville here on Nivet Media Sports. Thanks once again for joining us, and we'll see you out at the fields this weekend. For First and 10 with Keith Harrington, I am Keith Harrington for Nivet Media Sports.
First and 10 with Keith Harrington has been brought to you this week by Kelly Farm and Garden, where customers are part of our family tree.